What's going on, fellow Maplers? Will seems to be the bane of many players' progression, and in terms of difficulty, it's really not that bad. This video, I'll cut out all the details that you really don't need to know, and make this boss as simple as possible to complete. I'm going to clarify off the bat, this guide will help you clear up to normal, but has terrible advice for hard mode where mechanics are much more punishing. But first things first, let's get through the requirements. The base requirements are level 235 and have completed the quest line that pops up when you enter Asphera. But you should aim for the following before you even attempt Will. Normal Will is level 250, so I would recommend getting at least to level 250 to deal full damage. Any levels higher will be bonus final damage up to a maximum of 20%. Also, you should get Arcane Force as high as possible. The cutoffs are 760 for full damage, 836 for 10%, 988 for 30%, and 1140 for 50% more damage. Next, I would highly recommend farming rare familiars to get at least 3 lines that read continually restores HP. Each line gives you 10% HP every several seconds, which stacks. These are also influenced by potential lines that state HP recovery of items and skills plus X%. This is important because they ignore HP recovery blocking mechanics and will help mitigate various sources of damage in the fight. Lastly, for damage requirements, it's really dependent on too many things. I would recommend trying out the following to see if you are ready. Utilize the remainder of the guide to practice solo on easy Will. It's pretty much the same mechanically, but has over 30% less HP per phase, is level 235, and does much less damage. Your goal should be to make it to at least phase 3 by yourself within the time limit. Once you complete this, you are ready for party play, or can continue progressing your DPS to be able to solo clear on normal. Now for the boss itself. Will looks complicated, but is not. Before I get into mechanics of each phase, I will give you the most helpful piece of advice in the entire video. Ignore everything else happening on screen, because there's a lot, and focus on the cadence of Will's attacks and the direction he is facing. All you need to do for the entire boss fight is move to the opposite side of Will's attack while doing damage. If you have HP familiars and auto HP potions, it will out heal every source of damage except a few. You also have 10 lives to work with, which gives you a lot of wiggle room. In phase 1, there's only one attack you should look out for. He will pause and start to glow red, summoning a tornado which does 90% damage. Stand behind him, iframe through the attack, or press the harvest key to avoid the attack. Speaking of the harvest key, which is just the spacebar by default, it is part of a special mechanic in the Will fight which changes at each phase. You have a meter that fills up when you avoid damage. If you follow this guide, you can pretty much ignore the meter as you will almost always have enough for when you want to use it. Now for the special mechanic of phase 1. There are 2 different copies of Will that you need to damage. You want to damage each one at the same pace. You can switch which one you are fighting by pressing the harvest key. Every minute starting at 2850, a test will occur. Text will pop up on the screen indicating you should look for an eye to appear at the center of the map. If you see it, do nothing. If you don't, you need to press the harvest key. If you're in the wrong area, you will die. If anyone dies during any test, you will need to wait another minute for the test to start again. For this test, just avoid dark orbs and touch a yellow orb. This creates a barrier in the center of the map. Stay inside the barrier while avoiding the dark orbs to complete the test. You can tank one at a time before healing. Successful completion will stun Will and allow you to continue damaging him. If you do not clear both bars, you will need to work from the highest HP version of Will. If you cleared both, it will allow you to continue into the next third of his HP. Once you clear all 3 chunks of health, phase 2 will start. For this phase, just do the exact same as phase 1. Hop back and forth in cadence with Will's attacks. However, do not look at Will for indication of his attacks. Look beneath Will at his mirror image. During this phase, healing will be locked outside of your familiars. You will need to monitor your health here a little bit. Press the harvest key to allow you to use healing potions and abilities for a short time. Make sure to also press your potion key, as even if you are below the threshold for auto potion, it needs to be triggered by damage. If you are too low, it may KO you before you can heal. There are 2 attacks to watch out for. The first is instead of a tornado, Will may summon a spider which you just need to jump over to avoid. The second is if you get pushed into a corner and a web forms on the floor. If you cross the web, you will die. Iframe through it or jump up and down to wait out the web. As soon as you clear half of Will's HP, the phase 2 test will start. Spider legs will come from the floor and ceiling as you've been seeing before, but the rest of the attacks should clear out. Stand in this general area and do the following. If the floor is cracked, you need to touch the spider legs. If the floor is clean, you need to avoid the spider legs. For the spider legs, generally they will not touch the same spot twice. If the floor is clean, move to where the last spider leg was and be a tiny bit reactive if you were too close to the next spawn. Utilize the opposite logic if the floor is cracked. Go to an area that did not have a spider leg to be hit by the next spawn. You need to repeat this 5 times to clear the test. This one takes a bit of practice, but if you follow the guide, you should have plenty of lives to work with. After getting it right a few times, it becomes incredibly easy. The reason I recommend practicing on solo Will is that with other players it can be really chaotic on screen and hard to know what's going on if you've never done it before. Additionally, make sure to heal up to full at the beginning of the test. You can tank up to 1 spider leg on normal, which can save you if you're just getting your bearings. Lastly, if you die, you need to wait for the test to occur again. For this phase, if you need to wait for the next test to occur, just stand far away from Will's attacks, but not at the very edge of the map due to the web mechanic. He won't be able to hit you with most abilities. After you clear both portions of Will's health and 2 tests, you will enter phase 3. For phase 3, you guessed it, just jump to the opposite side of Will to avoid his attacks. There are 2 things you need to know for this phase. The first is that Will may turn into a giant spider every several seconds. Look at his eyes when this happens. If they glow yellow, do not move. If they do not glow yellow, keep moving. This attack does 90% HP and will likely kill you if you mess up. The second thing you need to worry about is the continuously spawning webs. While you're fighting Will, press the interact key to make you immune to them. Jump through up to 2 of them to clear them from the screen. You need to continuously be doing this throughout the fight. If you get caught in them, it locks your skills and does a high amount of damage per second. If you do not continually clear them, they will eventually cover the entire screen, and that's likely game over. After you clear this phase, you now have access to stone cobweb droplets. This, when traded alongside 9 stone origin droplets, gives you Arcano coins. These are used for the arcane shoulder and weapon. You also have a chance to get the Twilight mark from Will, which is likely an upgrade to your face accessory slot. And that's about it. When this video helps you crush this chump, like and subscribe.